Hello, my friends. I'm back again with another quick look. This time we're quick looking at two decks, and both of these share something in common, which is why I have combined them into one video. They are both collage decks. Now, before you stop watching this, I am well known as a dismisser of collage decks. I think stemming back from one of my early decks, which I think was called the Gendron Tarot, which really creeped me out. And from there on, I really avoided collage decks kind of aggressively, with the exception of the Voyager Tarot, which I like a lot but don't use, mostly because of the size and the keywords. And then there's the Bohemian Gothic Baba Studios deck, which is digital collage, and the digital collage creepiness kind of works for me in that deck. So, but I've largely stayed away from them. But these caught my eye, and I really do like them. So let's look at the first one. This is the Guided Hand Tarot, and this is by Irene Mudd, and it's available on Etsy. There was a pre-order version of this deck, I think, that had gilded edges. I'm a little over gilded edges, TBH, but I did not get that version because I had not seen it. I saw this on Instagram, and what caught my eye is that the Queen of Wands is Marsha P. Johnson. If you do not know who Marsha P. Johnson is, I recommend that you get thee to Netflix immediately and watch the brilliant documentary, I think it's The Life and Death of Marsha P. Johnson. She was a queer activist involved in the Stonewall riots. Brilliant story and amazing, and you know, something that I think in particular young queer people need to reconnect with. We need to, as RuPaul would say, it's part of our herstory. Marsha P. Johnson and folks in particular, queer trans women of color, for those of us who today have the rights we have, owe a huge amount to those folks, lesbians, gay men, trans people in New York at that time who had enough. So having seen that card on Instagram, I had to get the deck, and I did. There is a guidebook for it, which I did not get. But it has an accordion fold little booklet, and then really just a lovely pastel springtime feel to the box. Nice, really sturdy, sort of gift box type box. Really like that. And it's a collage deck, but it's a handmade collage, which I really appreciate. I feel there's something kind of homemade about that and crafty, but not in like a kitschy way. So I'll just flip through some of the cards as I talk about it, and I find it really charming. I find it sort of fresh. The collage does not bother me remotely. I like it. It actually made me think for a hot minute that I might make a collage deck, since I always want to make decks and I do not have artistic ability to do so. You know, like I could get on the computer and make some digital art, but I lacked the vision to make it happen. So I really like it. It does have a sort of queer attitude toward it, which I appreciate. It's not sort of aggressive in any way. I think you don't have to be a queer person to appreciate what you're getting. There she is. This card is why I got the deck. I just wanted that card in my life. There are a couple cards I'm not wild about. I don't love this Magician, to be honest. And then I think the Fool might be another one I'm not wild about. But it's Rider-Waite-Smith, and I like it a lot. I really do. I like the combination of hand drawing and collage. I like that it feels, I don't know, maybe I should zoom in a little bit more. I like that it feels handmade. I also really like the cardstock. It's not, I mean, I love good cardstock, don't get me wrong. I have so many decks that are so on the edge of not being shuffleable. Don't like the Sun card, to be honest. This is like thin, it feels like mass-produced cardstock, which sometimes is just really satisfying to use. So I do like this deck. My one qualm about it, and this is something that I'm going to talk more about in my book, which I'm working on the second draft of right now, is the difference between representation of diversity and tokenism. So I've been looking at a lot of decks that feature diversity, quote, quote, diversity, And I have found that many of them still have less than 1/3 of the cards representing non-white people, which is an expression I really don't like, because what we're really looking at is that the communities of Latinx people, people of color, Black, African, Brazilian, Asian, all of the cultures and countries within the Asian countries, Middle Eastern, like all of those are reduced to about 1/3 of diverse decks. This is probably even a little less than that. So I feel like, okay, we're starting to get more diversity in decks. We need to then move the needle more. It needs to be more accurate of how many people in the world. So there's some here. I don't think it's enough. That's not exclusive to this deck. It's just something I've been thinking more and more about, because I clearly haven't pissed people off enough, but that matters. So I'm going to keep talking about it. That aside, I really like almost everything else about this deck. There are a couple cards, inevitably, that I dislike, but that, I mean, there are very few decks that that's not the case for. And even decks that I love, as I use the Japaridza as an example, have a couple cards I hate. So we just deal with it. And it's a reminder of the fact that tarot's human and humans aren't perfect. So this is the Guided Hand Tarot by Irene Mudd. Shuffles really nicely because it does have sort of a great mass-produced card stock. So I really do like it a lot. And I say bravo to it. My one qualm, couple cards I really don't like, could be much more representational. This next one I stumbled on by accident, and in fact, I'm hoping that there's a title card in here somewhere. Yes, it's called the Careful Tarot. It's another collage deck. This came from Canada. I think it's a Canadian creator. It's a playing card size deck, and I like it a lot. I really find it a successful modern collage deck. I think the collage is clean. It does not creep me out, and it shuffles really nicely. It's very Rider-Waite-Smith, so it's not going to take a whole lot of energy to learn and use it. I think the collaging is clever. The choices are really interesting. I really do love that Lover's card. This card actually reminds me of a card in the Voyager Tarot. And I really do like the Voyager Tarot. So I think my bias against collage has more to do with creepy collage than it does with actual collage. So the... I like to see a face on the Hermit, but I really do like this Hermit. I like this fortune card. Fortune cards are not my favorite generally. I hear that a lot from other folks too. So these are the majors. The majors have black borders, and then the minors, very elegantly, have white borders. These are the backs, by the way. Not my favorite backs, but they're fine. I did like a quick little flip of these on Instagram. So if you're thinking you've seen me talk about these before, that's where. And then the minors have really like the Roman numeral and then the suit sign and then the collage image. Again, I think these are really successful. I think they're classy and clean. The choices feel appropriate. There's something readable about them, and I like it a lot. And this is, I think, the only one that's in order, so go me. You know, I like it. I think it's really nice. And I can definitely see using this. It's fresh. It's not like something I've seen before. So I say bravo. So this is the Careful Tarot. I don't have, I believe, an author's name on it. No, not really. I don't see it. It was supposed to come in a box. The boxes apparently there was a misprint. So by hand, the artist made these little pouches, which I think is charming. You know, I should zoom out a little bit more. You know, just to have something to put them in. You know, she made them by hand. So not a sewer or a seamster by any stretch, but it just, you know, it made me laugh, and I think it shows a definite kindness to those who ordered the deck. So these are two collage decks I think are thumbs up. I really like them. The Guided Hand Tarot by Irene Mudd and the Careful Tarot by Careful Tarot. So I hope you like this. Be good.